I know all of you are doing well now that you've graced this channel. If you are watching in the replay, say hello in the replay. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is a very impromptu video, but I wanted to talk to you all today about this thing that's going on with black women and having a scarcity mindset as it relates to dating. I saw a TikTok, excuse me, not a TikTok, but an Instagram video today from a girl that I watch on, well, I follow her. I don't want to get into too many details about her, but she is someone that I really, really like. I love how she has romanticized her life. Beautiful chocolate sister. She has a blog that she does, and I think she has a YouTube channel as well. But she does a lot of food blogging and things like that. And she's a single woman, and she has a lot of, for the past 6 months, she's been like inviting people into her dating life. So she invites men onto her platform and she lets them know, hey, listen, you guys are going to be on, you're going to be on my, on my recorded content. Like, I'm doing this for my blog, because I do blog. I'm doing this for social media, basically. And she said that since she has been inviting different guys onto her, onto her platform, because she's a food blogger, she's kind of incorporated her dates with food blogging and things like that. But anyways, she's been getting DMs, excuse me, DMs from women who are basically like coming at her behind the men that have been on her platform. And so she had to do this whole spill about, listen, if you are in a relationship with someone, or if someone thinks that they're in a relationship with you, then you shouldn't even be on here, because what I don't have time for is women coming into my DMs trying to, come at me behind, a potential relationship that you may have with them. And she is so sweet, like such an unproblematic person. And these guys who go onto her platform, they know that they're being recorded. Like, they have consent, they have permission, they have cameras in their face. So the issue, what I'm having an issue with, it's not a woman's place to go and try to confront another woman about a man that you're potentially dating, right? And it was just sad to see her in that position, because she's so kind, she's so nice, and she has a huge following on her platform. But I just feel like it's problematic when we as women feel like we have to confront the woman in the situation who fully gave the person that she's interviewing consent. Like, hey, listen, I'm a single woman, I'm gonna flirt, that's me. If you're here, that means that you want to be here, right? As a man, you want to be into my energy, you want to be in my space, you know what time it is, because I've let you know. I just feel like if there is an issue, if there is an issue with the person that you're dating, if you see them on this platform, the very first person that you need to be going to is the man that you assumed that you were in a relationship with. I really don't like this whole scarcity mentality that that I'm starting to see in a lot of black women. And maybe this happens in all cultures, but I'm speaking specifically to women of color, because it just looks very, very tacky. And the fact that we are addressing the women, right, who are single, who don't even know that these people are in relationships with the so-called man that you have, to see these women be casualties of something that they don't have any knowledge of, it's ridiculous. And I just feel like black women, you need to work on your scarcity mindset before you start dating, right? Before you start dating, work on a scarcity mindset. If you believe in your mind that, well, there's only a limited pool of the men that I preference to date, there's only a limited pool of these specific men, and you have a belief or a story around that, right? To where scarcity sets in, you do not need to be dating. You need to take a break from dating. You don't need to have any men in your rotational pool until you fix your mindset, right? If that is your belief. Because what I am noticing is that women who do this, women who go after the woman who has no idea, no clue that this person that you're with is involved, these are the women who become the casualties, especially someone of her caliber, because again, she is very popular on social media, and she will be the one that will get the brunt of the backlash from women who have a scarcity mindset, who's dealing with a man who clearly made a choice to go onto her platform, right? They made that choice. But women who have a scarcity mindset will make this woman out to be the villain, right? And I just think that it is so unfair and so problematic when women who have a scarcity mindset go into dating and they don't properly address their misguided anger. Sweetheart, your problem is not with that woman. Your problem is with the man. But what happens is that when women who have a scarcity mindset, especially black women having a scarcity mindset due to the fact that they think that, there is a limited pool of these certain available type of men, when you're in that mindset, you tend to look at every other woman as your competitor, right? You tend to look at the other woman as competing with you for this ultimate prize, right? You're not seeing that once you confront the problem, right? Because you're afraid that if you confront this problem, then you're going to lose this so called prize, right? That is what you are essentially afraid of. But that misguided anger could cause you to do things that you wouldn't do if you just understood that you needed to get up out of that mindset. You needed to get up out of a scarcity mindset. And I'm starting to see that a lot. And my heart bled for her because she is such an unproblematic girl. Like, she loves her energy, she loves her space, and she's a person that, typically dates certain type of man, right? Those same men that are in that same pool. So it's this cattiness that goes on. And I just wanted to address that. When you look at scarcity, right? I'm going to take this back to when we had the C-19 epidemic, right? When there was a scarcity mindset, do y'all remember when toilet tissue was like very, very scarce? I can remember going into a store. I was living in Arizona at this time. I can't think of the name of the store, but it's like a popular supermarket. I go inside of the store. There's no toilet tissue. None. So I asked one of the workers there. I was like, "Hey, are you guys out of stock? Can you go check the back?" He was like, "Yes, there's someone coming out right now." I saw a whole bunch of people, like it had to have been like 20 to 25 people like standing there because I assumed that they asked the same question. So they're waiting. It's like 20 people waiting for the person to come back. Well, the person that was in the back to come out with a pallet of toilet tissue or whatever. So the guy comes from the back. I'm talking about, you can see just this terror in people's faces, right? They're so anxious. They're waiting. They're waiting. They're waiting. So he comes out with the pallet of toilet tissue and he's trying to unwrap all of the wrappings and everything that it was packaged in. And you can just see how frantic people were just from the sheer anticipation of them seeing if they're going to get toilet tissue or whatever. So as I'm seeing this, I'm late to the party and I'm seeing how people are really like it's like a dog eat dog world, like every man for himself at this point. So I was like, okay, I'm seeing all this tension. I'm gonna like sit back. So as he finished getting everything, getting all of the wrap around the toilet tissue, people were just swarming. I mean, they were bumping into each other. I mean, it was ridiculous. Literally, it was ridiculous. So I sat back and I was like, okay, all right, what I'm not about to do is fight over this. Yes, do I need it? Of course I do. But what I'm not gonna do is fight over this. That's what I'm not gonna do. I mean, fighting over something that I'm wiping my ass with. Are you kidding? No. So I was like, okay, what are my options? So I went and found other options. That's what I did. You know, I went to other stores. The stores that had them, and the ones that didn't, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna have to go use some wipes. So I did the alternative, right? I went and found baby wipes. Um, I did what I had to do, but what I wasn't going to do was fight for something, right? I was not about to put myself in a scarcity mindset because I knew that there had to be other avenues, or even if there wasn't any other stores that had toilet tissue available, I was just going to find me an alternative. I was going to give myself options, right? And what I want to encourage black women to start doing is start giving yourself options, or refrain from dating, and understand that changing your mindset before you're going out here into the dating world already with this mindset that is scarce. These specific men are scarce, so I'm gonna do what I can to fight to the death. For this specific group of men, you're just gonna have to like stop dating for a little while, and change your mindset to one of abundance and opulence. And if not, then again, open up your options, right? Go somewhere else, right? Find an alternative. Create options for yourself. I'm really starting to see how much of a downturn that we're taking as women. Because when you think about scarcity, when you think about when a person knows that they are a prize, right, in a community, when they know that, and they know that they don't really have to compete, which men of pretty much every species competes just to mate with the female. That's generally how it goes. But when the thing that is scarce, when they realize that they are scarce, right, and they see that there are women who will compete for them, who will do whatever for them, who will give them the most access with the minimal amount of effort, that is what they are going to go with, right? So when we're seeing all of these men who are in this specific group, who are considered the cream of the crop, who want to date within their own endogamous community, right? They want to date women that look like them, right? When they know that they are a scarce commodity, how do you think they're going to react? Right? How do you think that they're going to behave? Knowing that all they have to do is just show up as this, and they know that because the scarcity mindset is there, they have access, right? Men are energy conserving creatures. So if they have lots of access that is coming to them, they are going to rest. That is a man's default setting. When a woman comes and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to give you all of this access, they're going to turn on their energy conserving switch. And then the chase inadvertently is going to be towards them. That's the nature of a man. That is just male nature. In the wild and in humans. I just feel like we have got to get out of, as black women, right? As women in general, but because I am a woman of color, I am a darker hued woman, we have got to get out of that mindset. We cannot continue to create a culture of scarcity because you believe that there is a limited group of people at the top. And let's just say that is the truth, right? That is the truth. Then what can you do to create more options for yourself so that you don't feel like this is your only option and you're going to have to compete with other people or other women who are just as, just as qualified as you, just as educated as you know, just as beautiful as you, to compete for what you consider scarce. What can you do? How can you elevate yourself, as a woman, to create options for yourself to where you don't have that scarcity mindset, right? For me, I had to take a step back, right? I had to take a step back and understand that as a woman, right? As a woman, knowing this, what would be my protocol knowing this? I had to first get out of a scarcity mindset, right? But I also had to understand that if this is the reality that I'm dealing with, I'm either going to be complacent and accept this and continue to go with the herd, or I'm going to create options for myself. Options give you power. Options are the ultimate final boss. Options give you so much autonomy over your life. And I just feel like the men who are in scarcity, they understand that they can not only have you, but they can have all other women of different, of different ethnicities and of different demographic settings. They give themselves that option. But for some reason, black women still want to continue to not only give themselves, give themselves options, but continue to have a scarcity mindset around the men that they preference to date. So, I mean, this isn't in any way, listen, this isn't in any way trying to tell you how you need to move and how you need to operate. But the very first thing that you need to do as a woman of color, as a black woman, is get out of the scarcity mindset. Either get out of the scarcity mindset or quit dating. Quit dating, right? Because what you're doing is you're ill affecting women who are looking for the same things that you're looking for. And if you're not if you're not that person, you're just not it, right? You're not that girl. And you have to accept that. And not only that, but if these particular men that are at their at their level, at the top of their game, and they see all of this access and they choose not to solely be with you, that is also their choice, right? That is also their choice. Because men look at quantity when they have reached a certain level, especially when you're dealing with a certain demographic, if they choose to have multiple partners, that's just what that is, right? That's just what that is. And I just feel like my whole thing is, yes, they should be honest, but also you need to be honest with yourself, sis. I know this is going to sound harsh. I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash. But at the end of the day, you know what you're dealing with and you know who you're competing against, right? You know who you're dealing with and who you're competing against. So the best thing for you to do, again, is to come out of having that mindset, right? Accept who you are as a woman of value. If you see that the person that you are preferencing, if you see this person on social media with someone else, confront him. Ask, is this what he wants? If not, cool. But to confront the woman, that's not it, sweetheart. That's not it. That's not it. I'm not sure what's going I'm not sure what's going on, but I know I've just noticed that this has been a theme that has been going on not only in this generation, but even in my generation, right? I'm old. Like I've seen it even in my generation where it's you want to attack the woman, but you don't want to confront the person that is causing all of this confusion because you're scared to even lose that person confronting them about something that they've caused. It's starting to get crazy and it's starting to get ridiculous. And I'm gonna ride for sis. I'm gonna stand beside her because she is a good person. She's a beautiful woman. She does not deserve this. Like, women do not deserve this from other women. Really. Like, that's just not it's not cute. Like, we need to keep it cute. It's 2026. It's time for us to really reevaluate, just like as a community of black women, we need to start reevaluating how we view dating, right? And we need to reevaluate ourselves in these particular situations when we are confronted with them, right? We need to reevaluate, how are we feeling, right? How are we feeling? And if we are in a scarcity mindset, why do we feel that way? Because they know, right? They know they're the cream of the crop. They know that they don't have to commit because there is a plethora of available, beautiful, talented, educated women that only want them. They don't really have a need to commit when the access is plentiful. So it's up to you. It's up to you as to what you're going to do. I'm just relaying the message. I know y'all gonna come for me. But at the end of the day, the reality is what it is. And there are a lot of men who think this way. There are a lot of men who are in this pool who think that way, which is why the numbers are where they are. When you think about the numbers, they don't lie, sis. They don't lie. So Shifting yourself into an identity of plentiful, when you can look at yourself, when you can look at your womb, woman, I want you to know that you were born in abundance. You were not born in scarcity. You were not born in scarcity. When you were born, all of the eggs that you were ever going to have in your life were already within you before you came out of your mother's womb. All of the eggs that you were going to have before you were released from your mother's womb, you had all of your eggs. You were born into abundance. You can go look at that when you look around Mother Nature. We live on Mother Earth. She shows you signs and symbols and wonders of her abundance every day. You can see it in the abundance of clouds, the abundance of rain, the abundance of the fruit that are on trees, the abundance of sand, the abundance of water that we have in our oceans. When you go turn on the tap, it runs. An abundance of water runs until we shut it off. The abundance of people, the abundance of air, the abundance of the birds, right? The abundance of money that is floating in and out of different economies. You were born in abundance. There is an abundance of men out here, right? But if you're solely focused on a specific demographic, a specific group who already know that they are, that they are primed, that they are the cream of the crop, and this is your sole focus, is going to keep you in a scarcity mindset until you change it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with this. Let me know, what are your thoughts? I know that a lot of people are going to come at me, but I really had this on my heart. This is in no way, no diss. This is just what it is. This is the reality. And I just really want us as a community of women to live in abundance, live in fulfillment, right? Live as if you are already full, right? I have a glass right here of water. It's almost full to the brim. The reason why I didn't want to fill it up to the brim is because it would overflow, right? But I want you to just imagine this cup, right, being so full that when I continue to pour water, it's just going to spill over because there's no more room, right, for the water to be contained. But if I had another cup under it and I continued to pour, then the residual of that would fill up that other cup. This is you. This is you. You are the primary source that needs to be poured into. You are the abundant one, right? And everything that flows from out of this abundance is your overflow. So when you come to a man, no matter who you're dating, whether you're dating from this pool or whatever pool, when you come to a man full of abundance, your womb is full of your self-pleasure, your self-worth, your self-obsession, your self-indulgence, right? When you're full, any man would love to drink from that cup. So, I hope that analogy helped you. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.